Hey everyone, I hope you are having a wonderful time. Today, I'm going to share my experience of this Ladder Schumann R2R digital to analog converter network, which uses the FPGA chip. That is the Intel Altera Cyclone version 4. That is a chip that field programmable gate array, which is basically digital chip that you can program it the way you need it on any sort of machinery. Compared to previous generation, the Cyclone 4 has a better power consumption and energy saving and that kind of improvements over previous generations. So a lot of these R2R DACs has been using this Cyclone 4 FPGA chip for a while. So FPGA chip can be fully programmable digital to analog converter chip by you or me if we are capable of. Because of that, somebody already patented in the United States a while ago because that one chip will get the job done for your audio digital to analog conversion. Some people say it can be done. You are wrong because it will be done and it can be done, and that is going to be future of digital to analog converters because every like a factory spec chips like ESS or AKM or ROM or factory fully finished, those chips can be problematic when they're designing the chip when certain frequency range and jitter and noise and everything, so they have to work around it to retain it and control it. But if you can program, if you can do the FPGA chip as your brand sound signature or your personal sound signature, I think is a better option to have. In this case, I want to share my experience using this FPGA based R2R analog to digital to analog conversion network deck that I've been using for a while. For this setup, I'm using this Musician Night One speakers. This one can be had for 2,000 US dollars and JBL L100 Classic 75th Anniversary Edition speakers. I use these two speakers for this review, and sound sample you will hear with this Musician Night One speakers. So Ladder is the brand, Schumann is the model number or name of this model. This one retail for around 1,400 US dollars and solidly designed chassis with the solid footing and chassis design, but enclosure cover is stamped steel. This Ladder Schumann deck gonna take a while to break in. So out of the box, I was using in my desktop setup, right, using with my old amplifier, playing, when I'm working on my computer, playing my music or listening to my own voice when I'm editing my videos. Out of the box was muffled and congested in many frequency range. Probably doesn't have a factory burn-in. They just test the frequency test and quality control, etc., and they put it in the box and send it to me. So it took a while. That is the experience that I had out of the box, and then I moved over to this my two-channel setup and I started listening. And also I tried a few different amplifier as usual. I started out with my old amplifier, Denon PMA 2004R, and then I tried Top-End PA5 Little Class D amplifier. One thing that I like to mention is the synergy with the XLR cable that I use. I was using Mogami W2549 XLR balance cable. It sounded really open and transparent sound with a lot of details that you can have or you can hear. But time to time, it's too transparent that I got a little annoyed by it with some music. It tend to be on a bit of thinner side of frequency response or sound reproduction in upper frequency range. Because of that, I removed the W2549 and I replaced with the Canary L4E6S XLR balance cable, which is a quad cable. That thing that bugging me is gone, and it's like nice and smooth. The engaging tonality is reproduced, and I can hear it and totally enjoy listening to it. So that is a synergy that I like to share when using the cables. Build quality, I have nothing to complain, just about right. I wish they come with full aluminum chassis, everything top to bottom. Other than that, I have no complaint. This Leder Schumann deck has the 5 digital inputs, as you can see: AES, I2S, optical, USB, and coaxial, as well as next to is the phase correction for the XLR connection, for such as amplifier with the reverse pin XLR connection. You can hit this button and it will correct it. Let's say standard is 1 ground, 2 hot, 3 cold, but some amplifier or some power speaker has the 1 ground, 2 cold, 3 hot. So that's the correction that you can do it here. Oversampling, non-oversampling. So that is the feature that I use, non-oversampling. This is the setup light what came on. If you hit that, this is a simply mute button. So that's the interesting thing. If you hit the mute button, a little LED light will run around through 5 different digital inputs that showing you your machine is mute on, which is very nice touch in detail. So that is the mute button. Just hit it again and go back to where the input is. And there is like a little screen right here, little mesh kind of thing, or little opening that you can see. So I don't know what that is for. So I will let you know if I find out. So I'm gonna try to see a little bit more detail on that. Some people are saying, oh, this is just a rebadge deck of very popular models such as Dina Fripp's Aries 2, etc. But you are wrong, my friend. Nothing like Dina Fripp's Aries 2, as you can see. That's the actual board of Leder Schumann R2R deck. It doesn't look like, it don't look like any decks that I've seen and I tested in my system. This kind of build quality, sound quality, and everything that you can have for less than $1,500. We built it in the United States. We are guaranteed to pay $3,000. So these kind of decks are how good and how well they built it. So overall sound quality, I have nothing to complain. And what is good is it has the impactful sound. Not only high in resolution and detailed sound that it can reproduce, but it's also very transparent, that capable of delivering the actual sound signatures of your main voice, which is your speakers. Really shows the actual sound signature with pairing component as well as complement to each other. For instance, I was listening to Norah Jones' Happy Pills, or like Diana Krall live performance such as Wonderful or Girl in the Other Room, or a lot of very well recorded music. So when I was listening to that Norah Jones Happy Pill intro with snare drums and kick drums and all the bass line coming in together, that sound is so impactful. Not only high in resolution and detailed sound, the sound is so impactful and realistic. So that is my point. So when I'm listening to those music, I was like, man, it's like I'm actually listening to real good, well-controlled live environment kind of sound quality this deck can produce in your system. So that is a really good performance in my book for this kind of decks in general. Because a lot of decks can sound great and they have great measurements, and lab tests and everything can be great. Can they sound that kind of impactful sound signature? Can they sound that kind of dynamic attack, like you are actually sitting in the front row and enjoying the music of very good live concert? So this deck can deliver that really good high-end resolution. Please keep in mind, like aforementioned, the pairing cable is kind of important between the deck and amplifier, at least in my system. So those are the things that I tried, and I also tried a lot of different music. Classical music, incredible, whether JBL or this musician speaker. So soundscape, scale, dynamic range, attack. You play Metallica or Pantera or Anthrax. I mean, doesn't matter. Any kind of music, this one can do that. It doesn't have to be hi-fi or audiophile kind of music. You can play thrash or death metal or speed metal, anything. This is one of the high-end sound quality that you will get without spending too much money. Rich audiophile spend $50,000 esoteric DACs combination and monoblocks DACs. Have you ever heard of monoblocks DACs? Yes, there is. Esoteric make them. So those DACs are like 50 grand, or maybe even they went up. I don't know. So people spend that kind of money. Will you get that kind of sound quality? Probably not. How would this Leder Schumann R2R DAC compare to other R2R DAC that I tried and I have and I experienced? This DAC compared to Musician Pegasus, every bit is comparable. Musician Pegasus has the better chassis and enclosure because it's more solid and full aluminum solid piece of chassis that they made. This one, the bottom portion is very solid, top portion is stamped steel, so that's a little weak link in this DAC, but that is nothing major downside. So sound quality wise, every bit is comparable. So my recent reviews such as the Gaston R26 or Dynaphilips Aries 2, compared to Dynaphilips Aries 2, this one has a bit more resolution and more spacious in sound, like between the notes in upper range of frequency, as well as a little bit slightly cleaner bass response, meaning it has a more control yet more dynamic bass quality and impactful sound that it can produce compared to Aries 2. So that is my experience. Gaston R26 is slightly on more polished and mellower side of sound quality. So that is depending on what system you're gonna pair with. Musician Pegasus is probably one of the DAC that compare toe to toe in terms of sound quality wise, in resolution, everything, but this one may have a little bit more impactful sound in terms of pairing with my system. So that is my experience that I like to share. So some may ask me, what about like Delta Sigma DACs, like my recent review of SMS SU10. So SU10 is really good for the price, and performance is truly reference quality in terms of resolution and detail and sound quality that it can do. But the problem was the impactful sound without getting into like forward and like really bright and forward sounding. So this R2R DAC can do that. So SU10, you need to be paired really nicely with speakers or amplifier to get the best out of them. But worry not, the SU10 you can play around with the sound signature or sound color tuning. But these R2R DACs are factory tuned to cater certain music levels. So if you love your music, if you want to enjoy high resolution, very good detailed sound, yet very impactful with really good wide soundstage, this DAC can be had for your system to enjoy your music. So that is my experience that I like to share with you, my friend. Thank you very much for watching and happy listening.
There must have been an angel by my side. Something heavenly came down from above. He led me to you. He led me to you. He read the bridge to your heart all the way. So great. On the bass, Mr. Koriboe Keisuke-san. On the guitar, Onuma Yosuke-san.